You're watching News 9, English news as it should be.
Thanks very much for tuning in. I'm Nabila Jamal. Let me take you through the top news. As always, our day tonight, we're going to take you through a horrific story that's coming in from Karnataka. Bail roadshow by gang rape accused. We're looking at a massive parade through cars that these rape accused carried out in Karnataka after their release. Also taking you through our deep dive segment. We're looking at Mysore Sandal soap now roping in Tamannah Bhatia as their brand ambassador. Protests erupting as to why no Kannadiga was roped in. Finally, our viral watch segment, the gravy trial. We're looking at the court outrightly saying, do not demand for extra gravy. If at all you do and they don't provide you, it's not a violation of consumer rights. A lot more, the headlines first. Delhi government advises hospitals to prepare for rising COVID cases. Positive samples sent to LNJP for genome sequencing. Kerala reports first COVID deaths in 2 months. 2 men die in Thiruvananthapuram. Active cases double in 2 days, but health officials say no cause for alarm. Indian External Affairs Minister Jaishankar says India to handle Pakistan ties bilaterally, zero tolerance for terrorism. In fact, no bowing to nuclear blackmail is what he says. Germany, on the other hand, saying that they fully support India. India extending a ban on Pakistani flights, including military aircraft, until June 23rd. Moves follow Operation Sindoor and rising tensions after terror attack in Kashmir. Harvard sues Trump administration over visa ban, cites unconstitutional retaliation. University now fights DHS move threatening 7,000 international students. Remember, nearly 800 students from India currently bearing the brunt. Tamannah Bhatia, as she's been appointed as the ambassador of Mysore Sandal soap, there seems to be a controversy that's erupted with the Kannada Rakshana Vedige demanding that a proper Kannadiga should have been roped in as the brand ambassador. Here we see State Investigative Agency SIA of Jammu strikes at terror sleeper cells and associates. Raids conducted at 18 locations across 4 districts, incriminating material that's been seized. Prime Minister Modi to visit Kanpur on May 30th, likely to be meeting Pahalgam attack. The victim Shubham Dwivedi's family, there seems to be a meeting that the Prime Minister will carry out. Trump warns Apple CEO Tim Cook yet again, says build iPhones in the US for face 25% tariff. This is of course after Trump also imposing nearly 50% tariff on European Union. All right, let me take you to our top story here. We're looking at the COVID scare that seems to be back yet again. Masks are back, and this time with a warning. States like Kerala, Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra and Delhi have issued fresh advisories as COVID cases begin to climb yet again. The JN1 variant is now back in circulation. More infectious, we hear. That is also quickly spreading, already dominating some parts of Asia and has just entered United States as well. Looking at the spike in China, we're seeing United States claiming many travelers coming from China to the US are being tested positive at the airport of the United States. So there is an uptick in cases all across Asia, now United States. In India, Kerala topping that chart with over 200 active cases. Maharashtra following suit. Mumbai alone has reported 22 new infections on May 22nd. Delhi has about 23 active cases, while Haryana has reported 3 fresh infections, including a security guard we hear who had visited Delhi's Safdarjung hospital. He has now been kept in isolation. In response, the Delhi government has now swung into action, issuing a formal advisory. Hospitals have been told to keep beds, oxygens, medicines and vaccines ready. Crucially, any COVID positive sample must be sent to LNJP hospital for genome sequencing. This is Delhi's preparedness, but we're waiting for an official word to come in from the centre as well. While symptoms of JN1 remain mild, there's fever, cold, fatigue are common symptoms that are experienced. The virus, as we know, is clearly on the move. It's fast spreading, but not as deadly. Scientists across the globe are now reassessing vaccine strategies, including that in India. They're looking at this variant spread across Asia and the United States at this point to see if our vaccines are as effective to combat it. The centre has asked hospitals now to gear up, but there's no formal advisory, like I said, for public as yet. That said, the message couldn't be clearer. COVID isn't done. Stay masked, stay cautious, and don't lay your guard. If I could add, just moments ago, there's been a report of a person who's died in Kerala of COVID-19. 2 deaths have been reported from Mumbai as well. So that takes a total of 3 deaths so far owing to COVID. Largely, there were underlying causes. Comorbidities were reported in both the cases in Mumbai. In Kerala, we're yet to get some clarity. So 3 deaths officially from COVID in India. Now, let me take you through our second delegation, India's second delegation that comprises of all party MPs who've taken off to brief the world on Operation Sindoor. Second Indian parliamentary delegation under DMK leader Kanimoi took off today to Moscow. In fact, we're looking at the all-party team who met with India's the counterparts there in Russia, the all-party delegation, currently on part of the ongoing blitz to build this global pressure on Pakistan for backing terror. Following the Pahalgam attacks, this is the first of its kind that India has decided to send an all-party delegation to ensure the world knows where India stands. All-party delegation that was led by DMK MP Kanimoi today met with the Russian lawmakers. Those are the first images that came in. In fact, first Deputy Chair of the Federation Council Committee on Foreign Affairs, Andrei Denisov, and other senators in Moscow met with the Indian delegation, the Indian MPs largely. So we hear that they briefed many of those delegates there. Also scheduled to visit Greece, Latvia and Spain is the same delegation after they complete the Moscow trip. Both Kanimoi and the bunch of the MPs who were present there, along with the other delegates sent by India, had a thorough conversation, we hear, with those in Moscow. In fact, Moscow has resonated with all the worries and concerns that India has put in place about Pakistan backing terror. But while that went very well, let me tell you, the mission didn't really start off well. Just as the flight approached, the flight that took Kanimoi's team approached Moscow, we hear Ukrainian drone strikes began, and that forced a temporary shutdown at the city's airport. The runways were closed, landing was suspended, aircraft carrying Kanimoi and the fellow MPs were left circling mid-air. For hours they were mid-air, we hear, unable to land because there was a drone attack. Now eventually the plane was cleared to land safely. Indian embassy officials received the team, escorted them securely to their hotel. Today the delegation is now scheduled to meet Russian Foreign Ministry Sergei Lavrov and senior officials. Their goal is to present India's case on cross-border terrorism and strengthen strategic partnerships, firmly pushing ahead with India's counter-offensive under Operation Sindoor.
It becomes very important at this point to reach out to Russia when we have been facing terror attacks time and again. And we've lost 26 lives in India. So the government of India and the Prime Minister have decided that MPs from across the country, from different parties, have been sent to represent the Indian stand on against terrorism and explain our position to the world.
All right, let me take you through a very interesting story coming in as India now on high alert, and anything Pakistani at this point, India is repulsive to. And it seems like any version of the word Pakistan is also not boding well with Indians largely. So let me read out a few names of sweets that a new shop in Jaipur has laid out. It's called Mysore Shri, Moti Shri, Aam Shri, Gond Shri. That's not a new festive menu, that's culinary patriotism, with a generous dollop of confusion clearly. In Jaipur, sweet shops have now taken a sugary stand for the nation, dropping the word Pak from traditional sweets like Mysore Pak and Moti Pak because it sounds like Pakistan. So now Mysore Pak is reborn to Mysore Shri in Jaipur. It's their way of showing solidarity with India and with Operation Sindoor, India's retaliatory strikes across the borders that was successful. Now we're looking at sweet shops paying their tribute in their own sweet way. Well, linguists like Abhishek Avtan jumped in, some of them of course on social media platforms being brutal, reminding everyone that Pak isn't about geopolitics. It's from the Sanskrit rooted Kannada word called Paka, which simply means cooked. But logic rarely stops a good meme wave. Another one that said, will Pakshi become Shrishi next? Another one said, first world problems dipped in ghee. Well, this could be never ending. These are some of those comments that I played out for you. The sweets may have shared a syllable there, but the satire is totally piping hot. Right now, taking you through a fresh political wave, we're looking at the National Herald case that's come to haunt the Gandhis. Now, reaching its states ruled by the Congress like Karnataka and Telangana, the Enforcement Directorate has filed a supplementary charge sheet in the National Herald money laundering case that's named Karnataka Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivkumar and his brother, former MP D.K. Suresh, over a 2.5 crore donation that was made to Young Indian, the company at the heart of this controversy. According to the ED, this donation wasn't voluntary, but made under alleged directions from the Congress High Command, raising questions of coercion and political funding violations. Defending the donation made to Young Indian, D.K. Shivkumar has expressed his views here, saying there's nothing wrong in funding a newspaper that was run by a party. Yes, I did pay 25 lakhs, me and my brother did. Let's hear it.
ಹೌದಪ್ಪ, ನಾವು ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಹಾಲ್ಗೆ ನಾನು 25 ಲಕ್ಷ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಡಿ.ಕೆ. ಸುರೇಶ್ 25 ಲಕ್ಷ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ತಪ್ಪೇನಿದೆ? ನಮ್ಮ ಪಾರ್ಟಿ ನಡೆಸೋಂಥ ಪೇಪರಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಏನು ತಪ್ಪೇನಿದೆ? ಹೌದು, ನಮ್ಮ ಟ್ರಸ್ಟ್ ಇದ್ದರೂ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಏನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೆ? ನಾವೇನು ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ನಾವೇನು ಕದ್ದು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀವ? ರಾಜಾರಾಷ್ಟ್ರವಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಸಂಪಾದನೆ ಮಾಡೋಂಥ ನಮ್ಮ ಆಸ್ತಿಯಿಂದ ನಾವು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀವಪ್ಪ.
Now, with the political heat that is mounting, dramatic twist, the ED has also named Telangana Chief Minister Revanth Reddy in the same charge sheet. Not as an accused, but as someone who, during his tenure as the State Congress President, allegedly influenced individuals to donate and encouraged them to donate to Young Indian between 2019 and 2022, alongside late Congress leader Ahmed Patel and former Minister Pawan Bansal. While Revanth Reddy hasn't been summoned or charged, his name though appears in the charge sheet that's clearly sent ripples along Telangana. BRS leader K.T. Rama Rao was quick to slam the Congress, calling Telangana an ATM for the party.
Today, he continues to be a habitual offender. As per the charge sheet filed by the Enforcement Directorate in the National Herald case, Mr. Revanth Reddy, who is now the Chief Minister of Telangana, who was the then PCC President, had openly bribed a lot of his Congress office bearers and also sought money from business houses, is what the ED is charge sheeting, is what the ED is accusing him of. It is very clear that Telangana has now become an ATM for the Congress party.
Now, at the core of the ED's probe remains the charge that top Congress leaders, including Sonia and Rahul Gandhi, named accused number 1 and 2, orchestrated a scheme to acquire nearly 2,000 crore worth of assets of AJLA, in fact, the Associated Journals Limited assets, through a political shell party. Now, the investigation launched from 2012 rewrite the Congress's political script in two key southern states. Clearly, Telangana and Karnataka leaders being mentioned in the charge sheet is not good for the Congress on the whole. Now, taking you through this very shameful video that came earlier today. Videos have surfaced showing a roadshow that allegedly was held by the accused in the Hanagal gang rape case just after they were released on bail. The accused had been in judicial custody for over 17 months in connection with the alleged gang rape of a 26-year-old woman in January 2023. They were granted bail by the Haveri Sessions Court. The 7 accused were seen celebrating with supporters in a convoy through their hometown, Akki Allur. Reports suggest that after being granted bail, the accused were taken from Haveri sub-jail to their hometown. Now, during this journey and upon arrival, a roadshow was allegedly carried out, and in fact, there's the visual here that speaks for itself. On the streets of Akki Allur town, these gang rape accused were parading with a convoy following them and cheering and shouting slogans and enjoying that freedom that they've got. And look at the supporters who came by to cheer them on. These viral videos, more than 20 supporters were seen in 5 vehicles, part of that convoy that paraded through the town. Videos of the procession featuring motorcycles, cars, all of that, flashy signs of victory there. Now rampant on social media platforms, people calling them out. Accused were identified as Aftab, as Madar Saab, Samiullah, Mohammad Sadiq and Tausif Choti Riaz Savikeri. The case began as a suspected moral policing incident involving an interfaith couple at a private lodge in Hanagal, but was later reclassified as gang rape after the woman reported that she was dragged into a forest and assaulted by these 7 men. Now, she has identified the accused in court as well and repeated her testimony before a magistrate. However, she later retracted, or rather did not uphold her statement during the trial, which helped the accused secure bail. And this was their parade. Public reaction has been one of absolute outrage, many of them questioning about the seriousness of this crime and how this was allowed to be openly celebrating while they were on bail. Taking you through a very interesting story coming in from Kerala, as the Kerala High Court has ordered strict action against the dumping and burning of plastic and all other waste at the Sabrimala, a protected forest and tiger reserve area. The court noted that this illegal dumping during the 2024-25 Mandala Makaravalluku season led to the deaths of 2 elephants and a pregnant deer who consumed plastic waste. Sabrimala is a strict no plastic zone, but plastic jaggery bags have been strewn around. It was found near the areas where Hotel Hari Bhavan was located, attracting some wild animals right in the vicinity of that area. Travancore Devasam Board is responsible for timely waste removal as well, but many hotels still use single-use plastic and dump mixed waste into food pits, causing plastic contamination. Pilgrims also bring banned plastics in their areas there, despite the prohibition. The court has criticized the Travancore Devasam Board for failing to remove garbage in time, resulting in these animals' fatalities. The court has directed forest officials now to take strict action under Wildlife Protection Act. We're taking you through a deadly plane crash that was reported that shook San Diego neighborhood early today when Cessna 550 plane slammed into the heart of a military housing community. In fact, the crash, which happened just after 3:45 a.m., claimed at least 2 lives and left 8 others injured. Those are the visuals of the crash there. San Diego fire rescue crews arrived to find one home and multiple vehicles engulfed in flames. The neighborhood homes, in fact, dozens of military families who lived there, they were all forced to evacuate. Over 100 residents were moved out as per precautionary measures. let me cut across to the big story that's now jolted universities in the United States. After Trump cancelled foreign students' admissions at Harvard, Harvard has now responded, suing the Trump administration, calling the recent visa ban on international students as unconstitutional retaliation. In a federal court filing, Harvard says the government's decision to block the school from enrolling foreign students violates free speech rights and threatens over 7,000 visa holders, international students who are studying at Harvard, who make up nearly a quarter of the student body. Now, with the stroke of a pen, this is what I quote, with the stroke of a pen, the government has sought to erase a quarter of Harvard's student body, international students, who contribute significantly to the university and its mission. Harvard has said in its lawsuit. The school says it plans to file for a temporary restraining order to block the Department of Homeland Security from carrying out this move. The move comes, of course, after the Department of Homeland Security revoked Harvard's ability to host international students, accusing the school of creating an unsafe campus and coordinating with the Chinese Communist Party. Officials claim the school allowed anti-American protests and failed to protect Jewish students from harassment. The Trump administration says that Harvard must hand over records of those foreign students who are involved in protests against Israelis or Jews. In the next 72 hours, these records must come from Harvard. If not, they will lose the visa privileges for this year of 2025 to 26. One should know that those international students who are already studying at Harvard will now have to look for a transfer if this is not resolved in 72 hours, which means that nearly 800 Indian students will be left in limbo. Harvard calls this demand as political intimidation, says that it will fight in court. Harvard enrolls almost 6,800 foreign students at its campus in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Most graduate students from nearly 100-odd countries. So this is a big jolt, and one should know that Trump has given this as a warning to all other universities. If you don't comply, this will be your fate. Donald Trump, as he's always in the news, yet again, the President Donald Trump is celebrating the passage of what he calls the One Big Beautiful Bill in the House of Representatives. The sweeping legislation includes major tax cuts, eliminates taxes on tips and overtime, and offers new deductions for those purchasing American-made vehicles. It also includes funding for border security, raises for ICE, and calling on the Senate to act swiftly and send the bill to his desk. Now, in his statement, Trump has also criticized Democrats for accusing him of being out of touch and vowing that certain policies, including open borders and transgender rights, will not return under his leadership. The bill now awaits Senate consideration, where it is expected to face intense debate. But one should remember, Donald Trump, in the a little while ago, news coming in that Donald Trump has imposed nearly 50% tariffs on European Union, saying that it is very difficult to deal with European Union. They impose a lot of tariffs themselves on the United States. So therefore, this is in return. Apart from that, Trump also imposing 25% tariff on Apple goods, saying, I've warned Tim Cook to ensure production of Apple products happen in the United States, at least predominantly, not to have production set up in India and other countries. And since there is no response, I'm going to apply 25% tax on Apple goods. Trump being Trump, he is right now cracking down heavily with such penalties, tariffs, and notices. All right, let me take you through a story that is sure, clear-cut warning on what excessive use of smartphones can result in. In Japan, a 25-year-old man has been diagnosed with a rare condition known as dropped head syndrome, a disorder that left him unable to lift his head, quite literally. He couldn't move his head up because he was bending down to play his video game for hours together for nearly 25 years, constantly looking down. Doctors say the prolonged downward posture has caused severe spinal damage, leading to dislocated vertebrae and a large bulge at the back of his neck. Initial treatments have failed, and the young man eventually underwent multiple surgeries to remove scar tissue, stabilize his neck with metal rods and screws. Now, the 25-year-old Japanese man developed a large neck bulge and finally lost his ability entirely to lift his neck up. he was said to be an active child, but he's now become fully socially withdrawn after that surgery. It's really left him crippled, but this is certainly one more fear unlocked. The reason to why I bring this to you is because new age, in fact, anyone for that matter in today's age, looking at your phone constantly should be very well aware that this could happen to you. Prolonged staring at your phone, looking down, could erupt in a bulge at your neck, and that could be fatal. On that note, I'm going to slip into a short break. We'll be right back on the other side for a lot more news and updates. Stay with us.
बेबो का एक ही रूल, रोज खाओ अंडे विदाउट भूल।
समर में एनर्जी हो जाती है कम, खाओ अंडे एनर्जेटिक रहो हरदम, स्ट्रेंथ और पावर रोज विद प्रोटीन्स एंड मिनरल्स का डेली डोज। एक्स्ट्रा कूल कूल कूल, यस एक्स्ट्रा कूल कूल कूल, यस एक्स्ट्रा कूल कूल कूल।
संडे हो या मंडे, रोज खाओ अंडे।
ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಏನು ಯೋಚಿಸಬೇಡಿ. ಪ್ರತಿ ತಿಂಗಳು ನಾನು ಕಪಿಲ್ ಚಿಟ್ಸ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ದುಡ್ಡು ಕೂಡಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಆ ದುಡ್ಡಿಂದ ನೀವು ನಿಮ್ ಕನಸನ್ನ ಈಡೇರಿಸಬಹುದು.
ಕಪಿಲ್ ಚಿಟ್ಸ್ ಇಂದ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕನಸುಗಳಿಗೆ ಸಾಕಾರ.
It's final time. Arminia Bielefeld take on Stuttgart. And it's goal! Giant killers Bielefeld up against Stuttgart. Stiller! The last time they met in the cup, it finished 6-0 to Stuttgart. It seems unbalanced. But this is the cup, and anything could happen. Four Bundesliga sides have already been knocked out by Bielefeld. Will next season see Bielefeld in Europe? Will Stuttgart be nervous? Goal! Jamie Laveling got the touch. These two teams can grab some glory. A team from the 3rd division winning the DFB Pokal, unthinkable. The madness starts at 8 o'clock. In the end, who will lift the cup?
Every brand tells a story. And they are the storytellers. The Sutradhars. They present a brand with band, baja and barat to you. They are the Brandwalas.
Welcome back. Let me take you through the whole controversy around the Mysore Sandal soap company roping in Tamannah Bhatia as its brand ambassador. Questions being asked as to why no Kannadiga. Now let me tell you the prominence that Mysore Sandal soap as a company has. Earlier this year, when Hollywood star Anne Hathaway dined at Chef Vikas Khanna's upscale New York restaurant bungalow, she didn't just leave with a full stomach, she also walked out with a handcrafted marble box from Agra, a copy of Kiss in Kashmir, and wait for it, there you have it in the images there, Mysore Sandal soap. Well, that same Mysore Sandal soap, born in 1916, wrapped in its timeless red and green packaging with the golden promise that said, the only soap with 100% pure sandalwood oil. A whiff of it still carries the legacy of Karnataka's pride and purity. But now that legacy has hit a fresh PR storm. The controversy, of course, is the face of the soap, Tamannah Bhatia, who's Mumbai-born, Tamil and Telugu cinema star, has been roped in as a brand ambassador of Mysore Sandal soap for a whopping 6.2 crores. In fact, Mysore Sandal soap is it's in fact a government-owned heritage product. So I could rightly say that the Karnataka government has decided to go ahead with Tamannah Bhatia as its brand ambassador. Karnataka Soaps and Detergents Limited is pushing hard for national expansion of this very brand. 480 new distributors in 2025 alone. The goal, of course, is to make Mysore Sandal soap a pan-India product. But for many Kannadigas, the soap is more than just a beauty bar. It's an emotional emblem. Critics say that the face of this legacy should have been someone who represents Karnataka, someone who speaks the language of its soil. Narayana Gowda of the Karnataka defense and tone deaf, claiming that the brand's cultural roots were compromised. Under pressure, Industries Minister M.B. Patil issued a clarification saying the decision came after consulting market experts, aiming for wider reach and a younger appeal. But with this sparks a deeper debate. Can heritage survive a rebrand, or has representation become a non-negotiable? Does business logic always have to bow down to identity? Joining me live is actor, activist and lawyer Kasturi Shankar. Also we have communications expert Dilip Cherian and marketer and investor Lloyd Mathias. Thanks very much all of you. I'll start with the lady here on the panel. Kasturi
is a non-issue. In fact, I don't think this is about Kannada pride or heritage or culture. I think it is about the soap. And frankly, Mysore Sandal soap is not going to be sold only to people in Karnataka or only to people of Kannadiga extraction, right? We want this soap to be used and to be appreciated by everybody possible. And from a national level, I think Tamannah is a great choice. I don't think you need to have the model. In most commercials, everybody knows the model does not use the product that they're modeling for. So I don't see why in the case of this soap, suddenly you have to have all these extra hyper regionalism come into the picture. It's a soap that should be popularized all through the nation, not beyond. Logic that you detractors of Mysore Sandal soap and Karnataka soap corporations, and that should only be advertised by Japanese people, only for in Japan or only for Japanese consumers. Nestle should only advertise its products to Swiss people or people who are somehow connected with Switzerland. It doesn't make sense. Everybody is going to use that soap. I'm not in Karnataka. I'm not a Kannadiga.
It certainly is not, it doesn't require this level of wokeism and this level of silo building. A brand which is looking at taking its product beyond its current market footprint needs to look beyond itself, and certainly beyond choosing actors based on their descent and origins. The second thing is that as someone who sits on boards and as somebody who runs, I think that the minister recognizes that and has chosen to opt and stay safely out of the controversy. The fact is that boards recognize that you need to see what is the digital footprint, what is the age profile, what is the likely appeal, and how would this actor or brand ambassador fit into the campaign that they are planning. It is not about what the actor has done in the past. It is about what this actor is expected to perform in the future to make sure that this brand is a global brand and deserves the kind of sales that the company hopes to achieve.
All right. Well, they do hope to establish this as a pan-India brand. They already have huge marketing goals. We have the marketer and investor Lloyd Mathias himself with us. Lloyd, a little more on public sentiment when a company is looking at global strategy or a corporate strategy itself when they want to appeal to a larger national market. How do they also ensure that the local sentiments aren't hurt? Is this, in your view, a move that is well justified? Tamannah Bhatia for 6.5 crores. Many also questioning the hefty sum given to her. Or in your view, is in a marketing deal, this is really not a big sum?
Thank you, Nabila. Firstly, I think I quite agree with both what Ms. Shankar and Dilip said. I think clearly the choice of a brand ambassador for any brand of soap, regional or national, is really the fit or the target audience. What kind of audience will respond to the brand? In that context, I think Karnataka soaps and detergents have taken a planet corn using a pan-India star for a soap that is reasonably successful, but can be a lot more successful. I live in Delhi, originally from Karnataka. I would really say that the core, the soul of Mysore Sandal soap are the two elements: Mysore, which denotes its regional origins, and sandal, because there is, let's say, a bit of a sandalwood connection to Mysore Sandal soap. And I think in any way that you can further it with whatever star and try and get engaged with the new age audience, I think works. To be fair, in the past, Mysore Sandal soap has used Mahendra Dhoni. This is in the early 2000s. So they have used a wide range of stars. I think getting narrow parochialism and insularity into something like this is nothing but an element of politics. I think clearly the decision about what a brand needs to do should be left with the company, with the marketeers, the board, as the Lip said, and really is not a function. Clearly there is obviously some degree of mischief work. And just looking narrowly at that, I mean, the next someone's going to say, why did Rahul Dravid or Anil Kumble, who are, so to speak, Karnataka sons of the soil, used in national brands?
Correct.
So I really don't think there's a bit of a non-issue. I really think that this is something that should be left with the company. I think it's a reasonably good choice. And I think the brand has a long way to go. I mean, today it doesn't figure in the top 10 brands of soaps in the country, but clearly they need to do what it takes to move forward. But if I may...
And like you said, Lloyd, I will come to you. Like you said, there was Mahendra Singh Dhoni, if we could show some images there, who endorsed it. There was, apart from Mahendra Singh Dhoni, there were other actors locally though, Puneet Rajkumar, Yash, Ramesh Arvind, all of them were brand ambassadors of Mysore Sandal soap. From then to now, Mysore Sandal soap as a company has come a long way though, and they really want to appeal to the national audience. So this, I believe it's also outraged people about the hefty price being given. So Lloyd, you can come in on this, the money aspect of it. Is it too much in marketing language?
It's difficult to comment on the commercial, but broadly put, depends on the brand. I think national brands like Lux and some of the big soap brands do pay enormous amounts of money, but they also kind of choose huge national stars. Lux for a long time chose the #1 female, Bollywood star, if you may. So I think today, in today's context, these are well within reach. And also very often a star is used not just for their presence in cinema, but also for their huge social media outreach, right? And a lot of people in the know would say that Tamannah has a huge Instagram following, right? And more importantly, she also cuts through both with audiences across India and also with the South. She's worked in, a wide range of Southern movies. So I think that is really not so much of an issue. I really don't think it's way out of whack, given the kind of ambitions the brand has and the kind of potential for growth that Mysore Sandal soap has.
All right. Well, a quick look at the language issue. Now, if Dilip Cherry, you want to come in on this, they really, who do you please and who do you disappoint? A situation like this can never be balanced. A quick understanding on whether language and origin really defines a brand ambassador entirely.
Only if the brand wants to retain a purely regional character. So, for example, if you have a Banarasi fan that has no intention of moving out of Banaras, I can understand choosing an actor from there. But if you have ambitions that go beyond your state's borders, your nation's borders, and is looking at a moment in time when organic, geographical imprint, all of these are hugely, aspects of this product which can be leveraged for much greater growth, then I would say it's not the language. After all, don't forget that for advertising certainly didn't look Kannadiga, and that the fact is that this product has to reach global markets to achieve the objectives that it has for itself. So it's not about Kannadiga pride. Kannadiga pride will actually be enhanced if this product is a huge global success. I think that's what the naysayers ought to understand.
All right. Well, a quick take from the actor on the panel herself. It's very easy for us to say why her, why someone else. But Kasturi Shankar, Tamannah Bhatia is also a human, and she's acted in multiple industries, and this kind of backlash can certainly hurt an actor's spirit. Would you want to speak on her behalf, or would you want to give us a perspective on what Tamannah Bhatia Her response, so far she's been mute and mum, but attacking an actor on social platforms, what kind of effect it could have on an artist?
Absolutely nothing. It's not going to have any effect on absolutely nothing. This is too trivial and too frivolous for Tamannah to even spend 30 seconds of her time. Social media, is full of anonymous losers who really get off on belittling somebody who is unreachable in real world terms to them. So, that's their wet dream playing out on social media. And Tamannah knows that. That's why she's getting paid 6.5 crores, because she actually is big enough to start a controversy. If it had been somebody else who was not that big, perhaps it wouldn't have been a visible problem. But because it's Tamannah, everybody wants to have their little bit of connection with Tamannah. I am the one who started bad-mouthing her on Instagram. That's their 15 seconds of satisfaction. So it's really not going to do anything to her brand image. It's not going to do anything adverse, at least. It's not going to do anything to her desirability. If anything, it may increase the eyeballs, because now from being an advertisement, from Mysore Sandal soap is probably recovering all the costs that they put into Tamannah, because now they've become news. It's headline news now. This is free publicity for them. In national television, I mean, to buy a spot on your television would have cost them a lot more than 30 minutes of discussion about the brand right now. So it's really a win-win for Tamannah and Mysore Sandal soap, and all the other losers just go away.
Would you concur, Dilip?
Absolutely. I think that what Kasturi has said is absolutely right. Besides the fact that they've got free airtime, brand endorsements from 3 people like us, and the fact that the actress recognizes that her silence is actually working wonders for the company itself, because there is no need to defend this. There are enough people who are willing to defend it, and therefore the indefensible looks ludicrous.
All right. A final word, Lloyd, on this hurting the brand image of Mysore Sandal soap. In fact, Kasturi said it's otherwise. But your take, with Kannada Rakshana Vedike wanting to launch protests, opposition backlash as well. What would you say? Will it uplift the brand? Is it inadvertently publicity?
Well, I'd agree with Kasturi entirely. I think this is not going to affect the brand negatively. I think if anything, the publicity is good. It'll positively enhance its image. I think clearly a lot more people than otherwise would have get to know of the brand. And I think clearly this issue is really a non-issue. I understand the politics behind it. But at a larger level, and just leaving a thought here, Nabila, is that one wonders what Karnataka Soaps and Detergents, which is a wholly owned of the Karnataka government, is doing on soaps, when there are much larger citizens' issues that the citizen of Karnataka really needs. So that's a larger question for another economic debate. I just want to leave that thought here.
All right, great. Thank you very much, all of you, for joining us. Great chatting with you, Ms. Kasturi, Lloyd and Dilip. Thank you. All right, let me cut across to the big news from Bengaluru that's really upset a lot of commuters. After jacking up metro fares and parking charges by a steep 71%, Bengaluru commuters now will have to pay for P. In its latest cost-cutting, or should we say cost-loading move, the Bangalore Metro Rail Corporation Limited has rolled out a pay-and-use toilet model across 12 metro stations in Phase 1. Maintenance has been outsourced to Sulabh International, the NGO known for managing public sanitation across India, for a period of 5 years, and therefore they've now charged toilets. The rates are ₹2 for urinals, ₹5 for toilets. Well, to relieve yourself at metro stations, you will now have to also relieve your wallet. Toilet access, or the lack of it, has really plagued Namma Metro since it launched in 2011. Public outrage finally pushed BMRCL to make toilets and free of cost inside. In fact, the areas in 2015 itself had toilets finally established free of cost. But in a city that's already currently battling skyrocketing costs, crumbling infrastructure, it's monetizing these toilets that's really become a menace. Basic necessity has left many fuming. Let me cut across to our civic expert, Alexander James, to give us a little more, and also Shashidhara Bengaluru, coming in from a IT background, who's a daily metro commuter. Shashidhara, a quick take from you on how Bengaluru Metro has reduced itself into cost recovery machine, really ignoring the actual needs of commuters. The lakhs of people who take the metro will now have to pay for a toilet.
Yeah, good evening. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for having me on the show, Nabila. And I think BMRCL has been continuously an anti-customer commuter organization, in my view. Right? I mean, whether it is transparency or fare hike or completing projects on time, they have failed miserably, and probably commuter is in the bottom of their priority list. That's what it looks like, and this is the most ridiculous thing that they could have done, right? Offering toilets pay for use. I think this is the most ridiculous thing these people have done. I think it has to be rolled back immediately, and even they have not published the fare hike report, fare fixation committee report. They have kept it to themselves. Right? And they have been very, very opaque organization and a customer unfriendly organization. And they have never completed any project on time. They have never been transparent. I think this is I would say, the most anti-commuter, anti-customer organization in the country.
Could you tell us the actual issue? As a commuter, how often do people use toilets at a metro station? I'm sure it is rampant, but yeah, when you're getting on from one stop to the other, you're usually in a hurry. Is it also a way to, regulate cleanliness? I could well imagine that if you're paying for toilet use, you will ensure that you do the right thing to keep those toilets clean.
No, but by the way of fares, we are already paying through our noses. For example, if a commuter wants to travel from Kengeri to Whitefield or ITPL, one has to spend an hour and a half one way.
Yeah.
Right, and then so it's very natural that somebody may want to use the toilet at the beginning of the journey or at the end of the journey.
Yeah.
Right, so it is it's a basic necessity, and I think Metro has not done, BMRCL has not done right by introducing this fare for toilets also.
One can imagine that now that metro prices are hiked, it's all the more burning a hole in your wallet to also pay for toilets. Any message?
Yeah, Nabila, for example, if somebody is in Kengeri or in South Bangalore and wants to commute to ITPL, right, including the first mile, last mile, and the metro fare, one has to shell out 6,000 rupees a month, assuming a 5-day work week. 6,000 rupees to use a public transport. That's how expensive this BMRCL is. And on top of this, introducing this toilet fare is like rubbing salt on the wound.
All right. Well, we hope that your voice is heard and the BMRCL rethinks on.
I really hope that people are listening.
Yeah, I really hope to. I hope they end and abolish this paid toilet system altogether. Thank you very much for joining us, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, let me cut across to our Viral Watch segment. Our first story here is world football star Cristiano Ronaldo has once again hit headlines in a special podcast by Whoop, the Portuguese striker who's now 40 years old. He said that he intends to continue his professional career for at least another 10 years. Basically, Whoop is a company that produces innovative fitness bracelets and trackers that monitors health. Ronaldo is the brand ambassador for it. According to the technology that measured his different health indicators, Ronaldo said the results showed that he is physiologically 28